opening day for a Tiger, that's always a big deal here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Detroit really does it right. I don't know if other towns do it like that. I always heard that ours is one of the best. Seriously, going across the country. Less than a month till the NFL draft. That's getting exciting. There's a lot going on in the area, man.
That's right, man. We might talk a little bit about EMD.
EMD.
Acronyms.
Realtor acronyms.
Yeah, EMD, which stands for Earnest Money Deposit.
I was the listing agent, though, and the buyer didn't come to closing. They forfeited their EMD.
They just didn't show up?
It was the strangest thing. They did their final walkthrough. The agent texted me, "Hey, we just did the final walkthrough. See you in an hour." It was in the morning. It was a morning closing, and they never showed up. They called her and said, "Yeah, we don't want this house." Welcome back to the Real Estate Tailgate. I am Mike Mitchell with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Key Realty. Along here with my partner, David Underwood. What's going on, David?
What up? What up?
A lot going on. It's spring, right? But it doesn't feel like it to me. I'm freezing today. But
yeah, it's a little chilly today. But you're right. There's a lot going on, man.
A lot going on in the D.
There's a lot going on in the D. I mean, there's a lot going on now. There's a lot going on in the near future, and there's actually a lot going on this year.
Tigers playing tomorrow. Not home opener, opening day though.
Yeah. Yep.
Home opener next week. We got the Final Four here this weekend.
Yes, Sweet 16.
Yep.
Whatever they call it, the regional game.
Yep.
Or the Midwest.
Sweet 16 game. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we're the Midwest
regional. I think you're right.
We're the Midwest regional, so that's going to be here in the D.
Big money. I tried to get tickets. It's pretty pricey.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I thought I could swoop in and grab a couple, but not at a $600 a pop for the worst seats. I was like, whoa. So, but yeah, baseball season's here. Oh, the Final Four. We got to give a shout out to Oakland, right? We talked about them last week.
The Grizzlies, yeah, they
upset, major upset. I wish they would have made it to the Sweet 16. I'm proud of them though. They did good. I think it was a great run.
Great run.
So,
absolutely. Go Grizzlies.
Go Golden Grizzlies. So Tigers are playing in Chicago tomorrow.
Yeah, already, man.
Yeah.
Is that the Cubs or the White Sox?
White Sox.
Oh.
We got 3 with the White Sox, and I think 3 with the New York Mets.
Yeah.
Which always blows my mind because I'm old school. Like the interleague stuff, or now it's just normal. But like I remember when they never played the National League. So
yeah, and here it is, like
second
series.
Second series they're playing them. Yeah, like I'm old school. So yeah, then they got 3 with the Mets, and then they come home.
They come home for the home opener.
Friday, April 5th, Oakland Athletics.
Oh, the Oakland retirement home.
We got our Detroit gear on, our Tigers gear. We got the Liquid Death going. Where's the hot dogs? No hot dogs? No hot dogs, W.A. Hooper?
No. Next time we'll do it. Definitely do it.
Less than a month till the NFL draft. That's getting exciting. There's a lot going on in the area, man.
That's right, man. You had to say the D word about the D and the D.
That's right.
Less than a month. Are you going to go down there at all?
Yeah, I'm probably going to go down for something. Matter of fact, since we brought it up, anyone listening that's interested should know that, all the festivities are basically free.
Right.
You just gotta have that pass. I think they call it a one pass, if I'm not mistaken.
And that's for the draft itself. I think you can still, right? Can you still just go down there for some of the
That's what I mean. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the city's promoting it that it's a free event.
Right.
So,
that's what I heard. That's cool. That's super cool.
Yeah. So and there's you can go online, Google it. They got a QR code where you can download the app. I guess they actually have an app. I haven't done it yet, but I have the QR code somewhere. So yeah, I just want to throw that out there.
Yep. That should be a good time. I'm not going to go be in the crowd watching, the number one pick is like, but I'd like to go down and check out some of that, the festivities and some of the displays and what's going on. So, yeah. So, should be a good time. That's less than a month away. So,
yeah.
Hopefully it'll be warm, unlike today.
Yeah. So we got the draft. We actually have our hometown Red Wings battling to try to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, they're trying. They lost last night in overtime.
Yep.
Got a point, but I don't know.
Yeah, they lost to the wrong team though, because we're right behind the Capitals.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to happen, man.
Yeah, I think we've
Not
got
this
about
year.
10 games left at this point, so we're going to see if we can even make the playoffs. We don't have time to elaborate. I mean, we'll just have to watch. We'll have to wait and watch.
But opening day for a Tigers, that's always a big deal here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Detroit really does it right. I don't know if other towns do it like that. I always heard that ours is one of the best. Seriously, like across the country. Tons of tailgating going on. All the bars have their experience. Of course, it'll be a sold-out game. So it's a big deal here in Detroit.
Real big deal. I mean, every year around this time is when you start hearing that it should be a holiday here in the D.
Right.
It really should.
I'm surprised it isn't. It should be, because we do it right. We definitely do it right.
Yeah.
I've gone down to a few opening days over the years, so it's a great time, whether you go in the game or just go down, hit the tailgates, the bars, whatever, or both. So there's all kinds of bus trips and stuff. It's really happening down there. So
Even if you're just gathering at your local pub, man.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
yep.
Yeah, it's always a good time.
So spring is near, right? I hope.
Well, actually, spring is supposed to be here,
It
but
is-
today
it
it
is-
feels
is it
like it's
spring?
near.
Oh yeah, it is spring, I guess.
Yeah.
feels like winter to me.
Yeah.
So, what are we going to talk about today in the real estate world? Wait, I got to ask, what are the rates at?
Funny you ask.
How's the rates?
Well, you know what?
Because I got asked that again yesterday.
You might have heard that because some people are aware that the Fed did meet last week, but the Fed didn't do anything again. So,
Right.
Just as a reminder, the Fed, what the Fed does in normal times doesn't directly affect mortgage rates. But with the way everything is now with the economy and everything else, without getting too deep into it, what the Fed does now, or what they say they're going to do, is affecting mortgage rates right now. And, everyone several months ago thought that the Fed might make their first cut in March. As March got closer and closer, we kind of figured they weren't going to, with all the data out there. Now there's hope because of when they met and some of the comments that they make that there might be a cut in June. So now we kind of think, unless something freaky happens again, which we're used to it, something freaky could happen, but there might be a rate cut, our first rate cut of the year in June. And we might be looking at possibly 3 rate cuts this year. That's kind of the sentiment right now.
Possible.
Okay.
And they're not going to be drastic.
Yeah. And so once again, because of that's been kind of good news, everyone's just been trying to, look for any kind of good news when it comes to mortgage rates. Rates did come down just a tad bit. But once again, we may have already lost that.
Don't chase the rate.
Yeah.
If you need a house, go buy a house, because the prices are continuing to increase. So you're not really going to save anything if they even go down, if it even gets reduced, right?
Exactly.
So now is the time. What do you always say? I hate that saying, but you like it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't use it a whole lot, but but it's
Date the rate.
Yeah. Date the rate, marry the home. You hear that out there. in a way, it's kind of true.
It is. It just gets used too much.
Well, the point is like you said, don't chase the rate. The home values are going up. Okay, I mean, appreciation hasn't stopped in most areas.
No.
They might have slowed down a little bit, but they're still going up.
Right.
And if anything, you should be trying to get a home, even though it's tough. Inventory's still tight. I'm going to ask you about that in a second. But inventory's still tight. But the point is that you can gain the equity. You can gain the equity over time. I mean, people that bought a home just 2-3 years ago, it's mind-boggling how much equity that they've gained pretty much anywhere that they've lived. So how is inventory?
Nothing's changed really. It's still low. So,
Okay.
Some days it creeps up a little bit, and then then a bunch of houses sell, and it's still low overall, pretty much everywhere.
So, like I said, inventory's still tight.
Yeah, it's going to remain a seller's market throughout the year.
Nothing's going to change drastically in a couple of weeks,
No.
or even a couple of months.
Right.
Unfortunately. So, if you're out there listening and you're thinking about buying a home, get with the professionals now. The sooner you do that, the better. Get with a mortgage professional. So that you can make sure you're good to go, and you've got a game plan, so that you can get with a realtor and at least start looking online with what's out there. But yeah, you mentioned what we're going to talk about, and I figured we might talk a little bit about EMD.
EMD.
Acronyms.
Realtor acronyms.
Yeah, EMD, which stands for Earnest Money Deposit, or Earnest Money.
Yeah, Earnest Money Deposit. I always roll it off. Hey, I need your EMD, and we're buying an REO, and like all these acronyms. But people are like, what? But
yeah, and anyone listening is like, damn, Dave, why you want to talk about EMD, Earnest Money Deposit? I mean, it pretty much is self-explanatory, right? It's a deposit. Yeah, but it's really important in a transaction. It's probably a lot more important than people think.
It is. So I don't know, people call it a good faith deposit. I've heard that term. I always say, when people ask me in layman's terms, it's the buyer putting some skin in the game. They're having some skin in the game. You're making an offer. You're not just submitting the paperwork. You're putting down an earnest money deposit. And the more you put down, the stronger the buyer looks, the stronger you are to the seller. So if you have multiple offers situation, and you have 4 offers, all basically the same or close, but one has like a $4,000 EMD, one has $1,000, and I've even seen some go really low, like 500. Who's the stronger buyer? The one that has 4,000 in it. They're like, hey, I'm serious. That's what they're telling the seller. I'm serious. Would you agree?
I would agree totally. You're exactly right, but I want to dig a little deeper. You know me, I'm the technical guy, so I want to dig a little deeper. Okay, you're exactly right, but why? Why is that? Why is having a larger EMD, a larger deposit, or as you said, good faith money? I mean, I'm old school. You're old school too in that sense. Back in the day, I think they use that term a lot more. Good faith money. Okay, so let's break it down. Time for a breakdown.
Break it down.
All right. So what do we mean by earnest money, good faith money? What you're, in a sense, saying is, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, I like this house and I want to buy this house. So I'm going to put in this offer. And when I put in this offer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put down a deposit. The reason I'm going to put down this deposit is I'm hoping in good faith that you're going to basically take the house off the market and stop offering it to other people, so that we can go through, get things done to satisfy any contingencies in the contract, and get to a closing so that I can own this beautiful home. So that's kind of what you're saying.
Right.
And that's why when you said the larger the EMD, the more serious you seem.
For sure.
As a buyer.
The more serious you are, the stronger, you look like a stronger buyer, the more you put down.
Right. But from a buying side, what you're also saying is that I have the confidence that, that as long as we can meet all these contingencies, that I can get this done. So when we say stronger, what we mean is we have the confidence. We know that we can get this done.
Good word, confidence.
Yep.
I like it.
And I'm not afraid to put this money. Now, the money's held in an escrow.
It's held in an escrow account.
It's protected.
In the buyer's name, typically.
Yeah.
In the buyer's name in an escrow account.
Yeah, and once again, that's why you want to work with the professionals. Okay, as long as you're working with a licensed agent and a licensed mortgage professional, they're going to deal with a licensed title agent, and so they're going to make sure that everything's done on the up and up, and that money's going to be protected in a proper escrow account.
Correct.
But in regards to the confidence part, what you're saying is that I'm going to give you this offer. In the offer, we're going to put some contingencies. So, for example, Contingency might be a home inspection. Okay? In other words, if the home inspection goes well, I'm moving forward.
Right.
If the appraisal goes well, that could be a contingency. I'm moving forward.
And then, of course, your mortgage contingency.
And the mortgage contingency.
On securing a mortgage.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are the three main ones.
Yep. Those are the main ones. And they're not all standard.
So, yeah. So I'll give an example. So, like, average or typical, we usually do like a 7-day home inspection. It could be anything. Everything's negotiable. It can be 3, 5, 7, 10 days. But say there's a 7-day home inspection contingency. And in that time, we backed, something went wrong. You decide you don't want the house. You back out in those 7 days in writing. Will you lose your earnest money deposit? No, because that was in the contract. So you're going to get your money back. Your $2,000, whatever you put down, you will get it back.
Exactly.
If you get through the home inspection contingency, everything's fine. You're moving along and you're into the mortgage process. And God forbid you lost your job all of a sudden and you get denied for the mortgage. Will you lose your money? No. That's part of it's contingent on you securing a mortgage. So if you're denied a mortgage, you're not going to lose your money.
Exactly.
If we go through everything, the home inspection, pass it, appraisal, pass it, mortgage contingency, pass it, and we get to 3 days before closing and a buyer comes up to me and says, "Yeah, Mike, I changed my mind. I don't want this house." You're going to lose it. So that's what I call the getting cold feet at the last hour, if you will, the 11th hour cold feet. If that happens, yeah, you'll lose it. So in 20 years, I've had one person lose their EMD because I always tell people I won't let you lose it. And the one that lost it voluntarily gave it up for extenuating circumstances.
You know what? You hit it right on. And, as far as the contingencies, you hit on the key three that are pretty much in every transaction. Okay? I mean, some people might opt to not have a home inspection.
Right.
That would be what we call waiving that home inspection. Okay? So you might not have that contingency in there. But in most cases, you're going to have an appraisal. Okay? Unless it's cash, or there are some cases where you might have the appraisal contingency written in there, but well, they could waive it, or there are some people that may qualify mortgage-wise,
right,
and it might not be required to have an appraisal.
Right.
Okay? So some people aren't aware of that.
So it's not always a window for you, the appraisal, not a guaranteed window.
Right.
The appraisal contingency. The home inspection contingency is a guaranteed window for you to get your money back if you want to get out of the deal.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you do it in those time frames, in the contingency time frame.
Yeah, but I want to bring up a contingency that isn't common in every transaction, which is the contingency to sell a current home.
Oh yeah, now you're getting tricky.
Yeah, see.
So that's the thing with real estate. Nothing's typical. Literally every deal is different.
Yeah, and
nothing's the same.
And the reason I want to bring that up is because we're talking about EMD. Okay, so that's why EMD is such an important part of the transaction, but of your strategy. That's why it's important that you spend time understanding what the contingencies are, what they mean, and that you have this discussion with your mortgage professional, with your realtor, so that when you're getting ready to put an offer in, it's not going to be the exact same offer based on the house, but at least you understand the ins and outs. So when you piece together that offer, you understand and you're confident about your offer. Okay? And that's the job of the professionals you're working with, is to help you with that, because, why go driving around, looking at 10, 12 homes, spending the time, the energy, if you're not going to put in your best serious offer when it's time to do that.
Absolutely. In this market, put in your best offer.
Yeah. I mean, in any
unless
market,
it's been in the market. I think we said this before. Unless it's been in the market, months or something, then you usually have some room to negotiate. But in this seller's market, homes on the market, 1 to 7 days, you want to put in your best offer.
Right. And that's why, the EMD is a big part of the conversation, because your EMD, once again, depending on what you have in the bank to work with, it could vary based on what contingencies you have, whether or not you have a home to sell, because an offer nowadays, with it being so competitive, it's going to be, and I'm just being honest, it's going to be tough to compete in a lot of markets if you have your home to sell. But it does still happen, okay? Because people do have homes to sell. Sometimes people have to move. They're being relocated, whatever. But they have to move for whatever reason. They have a home to sell, and they might not qualify for both homes. There's some other tricks that you can do that we're not going to get into, but because we're just talking about EMD. But the point is if you don't have any other option and you have to put that in as a contingency, then you might want to think about how much you're putting down for earnest money in your offer, because that is an important part. And it, like you said in the beginning, it does help make your offer look stronger. And the one thing that we didn't mention yet is
have some skin in the game. That's what I always say.
Yep, have some skin in the game. But not only that, if everything goes well, your EMD money is not an extra fee.
I was just going to say that.
That money goes towards your down payment and closing costs.
Common question I always get asked. So what's that money go to? Does it go to? And for some reason, people always want it to go to to specific things like, is that going to go to my down payment, or is that going to go to my closing costs? It just goes towards your total cost. It'll be on your closing docs, on your settlement statement as a credit.
Yep.
But for some reason, people always want to say, it's like, well, is that coming off my down payment? It doesn't matter.
Yep.
It comes off the total number. So
exactly.
If you need 15, if you had a 3,000 EMD and you need 15,000 to close down payment and closing costs, you're only going to need 12. The 3 will be on there as a credit.
Exactly. And that's, once again,
I get that all the time.
But once again, that's why you want to get the professional early, have those discussions, make sure you understand the ins and outs so that you have that confidence in writing a good, strong offer.
Yeah. And like I said, if you have a good agent, it's hard to lose your EMD. It really is hard to lose it, in my opinion. I think I've only had one, like I said, over the 20 years that I can remember. Like I said, it was a high-end home, and it was a $10,000 earnest money deposit, cash offer, and we were past the home inspection contingency, and this person had to back out for personal reasons, and they knew it. And they said, look, we need to get out of this deal. I understand I'm going to lose my deposit, but in the grand scheme of things, that's what I have to do. And they were like, we don't have $10,000 to just throw around, but I understand that's what was best for their interests at the time because of the circumstances they were in.
Yeah.
So they forfeited a $10,000 deposit, but that was one in 20 years. And very experienced buyer, knew what they were doing, and there's some circumstances. So,
and sometimes things like that happen.
Yeah, yep. Sometimes things happen. So, but other than that, I can't think of any time where I had a buyer lose their EMD.
Yeah, and I've had people that I've had to get out of transactions, but
I've seen people lose it, but my buyers, I've never had them.
Well, I've seen people get out of transactions and keep their EMD. You know what I mean? Like I said, a loss of a job, like you mentioned earlier. I've seen that several times. Or a strike. We just had not too long ago. We had the big, the big three going on a strike.
And COVID in 2020 that happened when we were at the height of it. Everything was locked down. I had a deal fall apart, and of course the EMD was returned. And I think he lost his job that time due to COVID. It was like March of 2020, March or April.
So yeah, I mean,
it just dawned on me. I did have one. I was the listing agent though, and the buyer didn't come to closing, and they forfeited their EMD.
They just didn't show up.
It is the strangest thing. They did their final walkthrough. And the agent texted me, "Hey, we just did the final walkthrough. See you in an hour." It was in the morning. It was a morning closing, and they never showed up. They called her and said, "Yeah, we don't want this house." And she was doing her thing, trying to save the deal, and they did not show up. You can't force someone to show up to a closing. And they lost $3,000.
Oh yeah, that's a different.
Not my client, but my client got the money. So, but so it does happen. But like I said, when I'm a buyer's agent, I always tell my clients, I won't let it happen to you, unless if it happens, it's going to be on you, not on me.
Yeah,
like I said, it's only if you're going to get like cold feet and back out the last minute in the 11th hour.
That's 11:30.
Yeah, it was 11:55. Always stories.
So, hey, how are we doing on time, Doc?
Oh, you're doing great. 24 minutes.
Okay, yeah. We should probably wrap it up for the day. So hopefully we covered, pretty much everything about EMD. I mean,
I hope so. I hope if anyone has any questions, feel free to shoot us an email, text, phone call. I always give the same spiel about my EMD with my buyers because they always ask the same questions. So I always try and put it in layman's terms also. But either me or David can answer any questions. Feel free to email us, again, text, phone call, whatever your preferred communication is.
And how can they reach you?
To reach me, Dave Underwood. Best to call or text 248-219-3457. And you, Mike?
Mike Mitchell, call or text 586-291-2652. Email mike.mitchell@keerealty.com. Then you can always Google me also.
And don't forget, folks, to check us out on our YouTube channel, The Real Estate Tailgate.
Like and subscribe, please.
Yes, and share. And you know what? I want to take a quick second to give another shout out to W.A. Hooper Marketing, who is our producer. And this is a W.A. Marketing production.
Oh, you're too kind. Happy to be here. Happy to do it.
No, we appreciate you, Walter. Great job.
Very much, sir.
Getting great feedback. I am anyway. I think
Same
David
here.
is too. Yeah. I know our likes and shares and everything's climbing. Our numbers are going up. And appreciate you, Walter.
And I appreciate you both.
All right, everyone. Have a great week. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.